Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? I am Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. So yes, look at this. This is sort of like a swing failure, a bump and run, a bear trap, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we faked out to the downside. Broke back to back test the old support as new resistance, but we broke through it, and that obviously then squeezed all the shorts and piled in the longs into obviously a long trade or buying basically, and that managed to push us all the way back up to basically the next level of resistance. Obviously we did have this mid interim level, but the price action was just too strong really to really pay much attention to that, and that was more of a level we were looking at for a breakdown as opposed to something that would definitely be resistance on the way back up. But yeah, it wasn't resistance, straight back into the actual resistance, sorry, which is where we find ourselves right now. Obviously this was precipitated off the back of just a similar move across the board in risk assets. So if you do go and look at stock market, it did have a very similar move below an important level of support, was looking pretty bad, and then slammed back up to the upside. It did interact with the resistance a bit here, a bit of an indecision candle, and then the decision was made, and that decision was made in the upward direction. So yeah, stock market's a pretty good close here. I mean, it's looking good. Like this potentially could be a new well, medium long term. It could be we could not come back down here again. It is possible, but yeah, at least it's looking like a nice low for the time being, and it is a case of, can we get back above this about 4,300 level? Obviously lots of work to do, lots of resistance. There'll be lots of ebbs and flows before that, but if we cannot take out this low, and more importantly, if we cannot take out these lows, then ultimately it could be quite constructive. We could just see a lot of pretty much sideways meandering in this area for a while. Maybe we put in a sort of range low here and a range high, and we are just going to chop in this area between about 4,000 and about 4,300. That is a respectable range for us to chop around in for a period of time. Obviously this is 3,900 I've got us down to here, but it's a good 10% range in the S&P for us to bounce around in, tighten up, and then ultimately decide, do we then break to the upside or to the downside? We'll have to see what happens. Dollar index also did ease off, but obviously got supported at an important support level. So now it's a case of, is this going to be the low here of this move down, and then we continue onwards and upwards, or are we going to just bounce a little bit, interact with this support, and then ultimately lose it and come and test this lower level of support, which if that happens, we'll probably end up with a more sustained rally in risk assets. 10-year though, 10-year not booking its uptrend at all here. So yeah, we have that. We have the 10-year. There you go. Not looking as good as obviously the dollar index, but the 10-year overall chart wasn't looking as bullish as the dollar index overall anyway. So that's not it's not an immediate concern if the 10-year is easing off, but if they both start to go up again, then yeah, we'll be looking for trouble again. Oil as well. Oil did basically trade below this important level, pretty important level of support, I would say, technically for the chart, and has bounced back above. So will this have a similar sort of move now to the upside, and then put in a medium, long term or whatever term low here, and then try for higher prices? We shall have to see. I'm still more biased to the downside in this, as I have been for a while. I do think that clearly Max Payne is down here, and that is good for the economy, and there is obviously whisperings and talks of market manipulation like there is in precious metals. Maybe this market is getting manipulated lower, who knows. All I will say is that this market is thin. So that is why we're getting this extreme volatility that you'd never ever used to get in oil markets. because the market is thin. So just buys or sells of any large amounts can really push it and get it going. At some point it will get to a level to the downside where Saudi Arabia is just not happy, and they are going to cut production, because ultimately the best case of the best use of their assets, which is mainly oil, will be just to leave it in the ground. Like you would keep money in a bank account saving it, they'll leave that oil in the ground saving it for a future date. It won't make too much economic sense to them to sell it around in the 60s or 70s, I don't think. So that would then increase prices as they decided they're going to cut production. But that is coming at some point. It's just a case of how low do we go before that happens. That will obviously cause tensions with the US, who Biden personally went over there to ask them to increase production, and we have them actually decreasing production, even if it's only like marginal amounts at the moment. What else do we want to look at? Ethereum BTC did have a pullback, but that is fair enough, because basically Bitcoin Ethereum has been stronger while this chart is going up. Bitcoin did basically break through an important level and got a nice acceleration to its next level, so Ethereum was not able to keep up with that at that point in time. So that is understandable. However, Ethereum Satoshi apparently is just back testing into important areas where it does kind of need to get supported and move onwards and upwards here. So yeah, we'll see how Ethereum performs. Its USD pairing as well is up at resistance as well, important resistance. So if it breaks through here, it breaks through roughly 1850, then I mean, I don't see how we don't take out this high and trade higher if we basically break above here. Obviously we might not just break through in one candle or in 1 to 2 days, but I do think it basically opens up to a nice higher high, with this being a higher low and yeah, continued bullish price action. Maybe we get up to around the $3,000 level. Obviously there are a lot of option plays for September expiries around the $3,000 level. So on that basis, we probably make it near there, but I would probably guess that we don't actually make it above there. But to say that we don't get over $3,000 Ethereum in the next 20 days is not exactly the most out there spectacular call, is it? But yeah, we shall have to see as we do get closer to it though. Because there are a lot of call options there. If we do get towards 3,000, there could be a massive gamma squeeze, as obviously the dealers that have been selling those calls will then have to hedge those calls as we get closer, and then we really could get a massive rip higher than 3,000 in that case, with obviously crypto markets being relatively thin and liquid anyway. So there is that risk. We'll either not really make the $3,000 level, or if we do in the next 20 odd days, we will seriously rip above it. Well, I mean, we could even make it to all-time highs in that scenario, because things could get really frothy. But hey, there's some ETH bull porn for you for the morning. Let's have a look at stochastics now. Yeah, short term, 4 hours, obviously getting a bit extended here. We're always on a 4 hour TD sequential 9, and we're at resistance. So do we consolidate, trade sideways to down here? Incredibly lightly. 12 hour though is looking good. It's still got room to run, so we can obviously just hold around here as the 12 hour extends itself more to the upside. Daily though, very good, lots of room to run. Buy daily turning up here, lots of room to run. 3 day turning up here from these low levels, lots of room to run. Weekly is looking to turn up here as well from a low level, and again, lots of all the field to run into. Same with bi-weekly, and monthly not turned up yet. So I mean, without getting like overly optimistic, it does kind of look like we have got a distinct opportunity to get Bitcoin towards 30,000, even if that is just going to be a bear market rally and we get rejected and come back down there. It does kind of look like that is a possibility, and then yeah, we'll just have to see what happens when we get up there. So that is pretty much it, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.